All right, so we're continuing in our volumes and surface areas, and we're looking at harder applications. So here's an example where we've got a bunch of grain silos, and we're told that these are cylinders with cones on top. So I'm thinking about two separate shapes, and to help me with that, I'm actually going to draw my two separate shapes. So before I even start looking at the questions, I'm going to draw my cone and cylinder. And then I'm going to read more information. Okay, so cylindrical building, cone for a roof. 8 of them are shown, so we have a total of 8. So I'm just going to put over here that there's 8 silos. Diameter of 6 on the cone or the cylinder, so those fit on top of each other, so I know that this diameter is the same as this diameter. If the diameter is 6, that means the radius is 3. So I'm going to draw in my radius instead of the diameter because we often use the radius to find things. So we've got a radius of 3 and a height of 14 meters to the base of their roof. So from the ground to the base of the roof, that height is 14 meters. The total height is 16.5. So we know that this height here, the vertical height of our cone, so I'm going to label this as H1. H2 is going to be the total minus the 14, so 2.5. So here's my H2, 2.5. Now I could use Pythagorean theorem to find this slant height if I needed it, but I'm going to wait to see if I need that before I find it. So find the volume of the cylindrical portion of a grain silo. I know that volume of a cylinder is going to be pi r squared h, so I'm going to call this volume 1. So pi times 3 squared times 14. I can find that exactly by just doing the 3 squared times 14 in my calculator. And we know that this height is meters, so we're going to end up with cubic meters. So let's, oops. All right, so not 3 squared times 14. So 126 pi meters cubed is going to be my exact volume. The approximate is if I had just put the whole thing in my calculator, so multiplied 3 squared times 14 times pi, and I would get to 3 significant figures, 396 cubic meters. So that's the volume of my cylinder. The total volume of the grain silo, so volume total, is going to be volume of the cylinder plus volume of the cone. So let's go back and look at our volume of a cone. So let's open up our, wrong thing. We need our syllabus open. So instead, I'll just come back over here. All right, we know that volume of a cone is given by 1/3 pi r squared h. So we'll have V2 is 1/3 pi r squared. And now the height of my cone is 2.5. So exactly V2 is going to be 1/3 times 3 squared times 2.5, and I get 7.5 pi. So my total volume is going to be 126 plus 7.5 pi. So 126 plus 7.5, and I get 133 pi, which is approximately, and either answer, the exact or the approximate, is okay. 419 cubic meters. All right, now we have half a cubic meter is going to feed a family of 3 for a week. So how many people could be fed for a month by the grain in the 8 silos? Well, let's give ourselves another page to work here. All right, so first we want to figure out, we know the total volume in 1 silo, so now we've got 8 silos. So 8 times our total volume, that's going to give us, so I'm still going to stick with my exact 133 times 8. Oh, 133.5, sorry. So 1068 pi, and sorry, this should have been 133.5. If I'm writing an exact value, I'm not rounding it to 3 sig fig. I'm going to round to 3 sig fig once it's rounded, but if it's exact, it's okay if it's more numbers. So this is exactly 133.5 pi. Now if I multiply that by 8, I get 1068 pi. So this is our total volume. And now we know that half a cubic meter feeds a family of 3 for a week. So let's figure out how many families of 3 can be fed for a month. So let's first divide this. So I'm going to take my volume of 8 cylinders, or volume of 8 silos, and I'm going to divide that by a half. So 1068 pi divide by half is going to give me, so this is my volume, and then this is my volume per family of 3 per week. So this was meters cubed, and this was meters cubed per family of 3 per week. So when I do this division, then I'm going to end up with knowing how many families of 3 I can feed in per week. So figuring this out, I've got my 1068, which is right above, and I'm going to divide that by half, which is actually going to double it. And then I need to multiply that by pi. Okay, so I can feed 6,710 families for 1 week with that amount of food. And I'm rounding down here because I don't actually feed the next family for a week. So I've got 6,710 families per week. Well, I know there's 4 weeks per month. So now I'm going to do 6, 7, 10, divide by 4 to figure out the number of months. So then I get 1,677 families per month. So 1677. And now I know there was 3 people in each family, and I'm asked how many people could be fed for a month. So I've got this many families in 1 month. So now I'm going to take my 1677 and multiply it by 3 to get my number of people. So of course I'm continuing with my non-rounded value, and I'm going to get, I have to round down because I haven't fed this person fully for the month. So 5,032 people per month is how many people get fed from those grain silos. So that's a lot to follow along with. I encourage you to try it on your own and then go back and see if you get the same values that I got.